I saw a picture of Christ on the wall, and I said, hey, Mommy, is that Santa Claus?
You know, tell me why this is true, not what you think is true. Tell me why this is true.
I was in the 11th grade before they discovered that I couldn't read. And God reached down and said, all I need is some raw material, and I was good raw material. I had to learn to read and learn to read the Bible. Faith that saves us is not an unreasonable faith. A drunk staggered by. He said, you're not supposed to be doing this. She reached down and he said, if you say anything about Christ in this house again, I'll beat you to death with this poker. I'm either gonna have to get answers or stop witnessing. We cannot know ourselves truly unless we know our God truly. For to me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain. Bottom line is Jesus is the Son of God, and the Bible is the Word of God.
Most people state the Bible is true, and 95% of Christians all over the world, and many pastors can't defend it.
You can't deny truth. You can't deny what truth is.
His legacy is to show that to be saved does not mean to lose the mind.
You don't have to just believe it, you can know that it's true.
People would say, I've never seen anybody do something like this before.
It opened doors. It was way ahead of his time.
He paved the way.
Walked out of that classroom, and I looked up and I said this prayer: God, I've always believed you were there. Now I know.
All things are possible with God.
I don't want to look at his legacy in terms of just material. You should look at his legacy in terms of people.
Well, he was truly the embodiment of teach teachers, lead leaders, and influence influencers. I think he did it well.
The one part of the movie where Patty is, who's a co-author with him in one of his books, Reasons for Faith. And he says, we need to write a book. And she says, what do you mean? Who is we? That was a great line. It's like he was always looking to try to help someone. And then they showed some of the books that he wrote with different people. And that's one of the other ways that he mentored people.
One night he said to my husband and I had finished speaking at a conference, and we were talking to him afterwards, and he said, we need to write a book. And I thought, who's we?
Has this great line in the movie. Mentorship is not just kind of a download, it's the embodiment of what you want them to become.
Mentorship is not just downloading theory. Mentorship is the embodiment of that which you want someone to become.
I understand, he speaks at men's conferences all across the country. God is using him to speak to young men, and a very powerful speaker. And, in the movie, it points out that he didn't even want to be a pastor. And, he was a professional football player. And he talks about how my father played a part in his mentoring of him, to help him to prepare to be a pastor, because he really didn't even want to be a pastor.
I was just a guy who was a detective coming up, and I wrote a book, and Norman right away reached out to me and was willing to do whatever it took to advance my own ministry.
Many people learn just as much from your dad in the classroom or outside of the classroom as they did in the classroom, because he was constantly taking people out to eat for lunch, or asking them to go with him to a conference, be my driver or be the person running my table. But there was much more that went on than just driving down the road. It's what was taking place when you were riding down the road. And I know one of the things that a lot of the guys always used to like is, he would sometimes invite people over on the East Coast, class would get over at 9 o'clock at night, and we'd have Monday night class sometimes. Well, Monday night football would be going on, and he would invite guys over to the house for like Monday night football. And, a lot of things took place, conversations and really just hanging out with people. He was a real person who enjoyed these real things, and he would mentor people both practically and academically.
The way he has taught us has allowed us to just break bread with people, talk over lunch, and walk life with real people, because that's what he modeled in front of me.
Things like that people will remember, that it's the drive that he has, the grit is the new term to use, which absolutely described your dad, is grit. And that grit has been transferred to or at least modeled to those that he mentors, because he's been the mentor to so many people. Your dad was an evangelist and a mentor. And I think that's why he did apologetics, and all of his research was in order to reach people. Because we have Jesus, but it's kind of like, well, he never sins. That's for perfection, but it's also, we have countless biblical and living role models of people who have gone through the fire and have failed.
I wouldn't say I was discipled primarily by his apologetics. I was discipled by his walk with Jesus.
Hi, I'm David Geisler, and I'd like to invite you to check out our upcoming movie at normgeislerthemovie.com, where you will learn how God can work through you to change history, even if you feel not qualified.